Hello, parent volunteers. It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon on this Friday workday. Getting all my whole list done. Woo! Finally. Okay, so we're ready to start volunteering next week, actually. So after Labor Day, we can start on that Tuesday if we need to. Let me tell you a little bit about volunteering in our building and in our classroom. That first of all, you have to fill out that form with the district. You should have gotten a QR code. If you didn't, just let me know and I can send that to you in an electronic one. And sorry, there is a kitty here. Hey, kitty, stop. She's trying to knock my pen off. Sorry. I currently have my son, there goes the pen, is moving. He just purchased a house last night. His other house hasn't sold yet, but all of his things are here, including his pet cat. So sorry, kitty, you're gonna knock the camera down. Okay, volunteering in our building, I'm going to try and get serious here for a second, but the name of the game is all about confidentiality. So you are going to see and talk to and hear lots of little kid conversations, and I believe about half of what they tell me, and probably even less of what I see. So it's going to be really important that you'll get a quick lesson in this too, because little ones, they say lots of things, and you're probably going to know some of the kiddos too from your neighborhood. And this rule has been broken in the past, and it's caused some serious not good things. So you need to know, if you're volunteering in the building and working with the students, the confidentiality in anything that you learn about the students, including their academics or their behavior or their social or emotional, or anything that you might learn about their families through what they tell you, not through what I tell you. Obviously, I would never share any of that information that you guys share with me. So it just keep that in the back of your mind every time you walk in the building. I take it for granted because I've been doing it for so many years, but we don't share. We do not share. You're going to see high kids, you're going to see low kids, you're going to see everybody in between those two levels, and you're going to want to compare your own student with that. But here in Waukee, we provide what is needed for every student for where they're at. So just know that everything that you're doing to volunteer is helping me to help shape lessons in the classroom, even those small group lessons where I have just 4 or 5 students in a guided reading or a small math group, or even some behavior issues too. So big. That is a huge one, and I would hate to have that conversation with anybody if it were not to pan out there. So okay, so now you just need to decide. I'm going to open up 3 slots this year. Yay! So anybody who's ever volunteered for me in the past, it's been a while because we had the COVID years where it was just silent in our hallways except for students and associates and classes walking to and fro. But it's so good to see the building so full of life and you all coming in. This year we have 7 of you who signed up, and possibly there could be more once I send this email out. But we'll try. I opened up 3 slots, and you don't have to take every day. I would like to try and get consistent. So if you say I can do Mondays at the 9 to 10:15 slot, then we'll try and keep you consistent on the Mondays, or you say I could do Tuesdays and Thursdays or whatnot. The only days that I want to stay away from are the Wednesdays. It just helps me remember which one is the early out, which one's not. On the early out days, our schedule changes dramatically. Sometimes we even have specials in the morning, and we don't pull students for specials. So, and volunteering isn't always working with students. If you email me and say, well, I want to help you, laminate or cut things out in the building, but I'm not comfortable working with students, that's okay too. I'm not an octopus, and I need 8 arms most days. You've seen a glimpse into our classroom. So, okay. Talked about the confidentiality. So when you come to volunteer in the building, let's go backtrack here just a little bit. Volunteering in the building and in our classroom is not the only opportunity. If you tell me, I want to help you out and I want to help my student out, but could you send me things to cut, glue, tape, staple, whatever. I can send those items home with you. So, okay, so there are, when you come to volunteer, there's going to be a spiral bound notebook. It'll say volunteer notebook, and we'll just keep notes going back and forth. So if I ask, could you start here on the list of students, you'll see all their students' names. There'll be a check, check, check. But you only had that hour, and you only had about 6 students to get through. Then we just will, as a team, the lot of us, we'll just put the check there, and then we'll know where the next student should be pulled. Now, given that, there are 2 ways to work with students. So, and I'll be pretty specific about it. Because this is kind of important. So I'm never having you collect anything like test data or anything like that. The academic and the behavior and the social and the emotional learning that you're helping guide kiddos on is never going to be used on like their progress statements or their standards. It helps you and I plan lessons for each student so that we know where they're at and we can continue to have them grow throughout the year. So with that said, when you work with students, I'll be real specific. You're either going to work with them on the formative data that I need to know. Like, so I need to know how many letter sounds they know. Then it'll be really important that you understand those types are to not nudge them, to not like, they can't get the letter A sound. So you say, oh, remember, apple starts with A. What does A say? And then they get it. They remember but that doesn't help. That doesn't help the student or me or their parents, because then I'll think that the student knows the letter A. So the grabbing all that information is it's important to mark it correctly. Don't put the check, they knew it. So just stay real quiet. What I do in my teacher brain is to give them about 3-second wait time. So what's this letter? What's this sound? And then if they don't get it, you could always just say, that's okay. That A says but don't mark it as correct. Yeah, say, good trying. Maybe they'll say, I don't know, or maybe they'll say, buh, and then you'll mark that accordingly. I'll teach you how to do that. But the other type of volunteering and working with students is the fun stuff. This stuff is hard. I know it's important, but it's also, it's harder. It's tougher because you want to give them the answer, but you can't. But most of the time it's going to be like the extra practice. So maybe I've collected some data on a student they can count to 20, but they can't one-to-one correspond. 1, 2, 3, and they've got 10, toys over here, but they've counted to 20 or something. So they're not getting the one-on-one. Let me just say, there are 44 standards that we progress monitor on throughout the whole year. So that's a lot of different standards. I'm just giving you little examples. So I might say, hey, Joe and Susie and Frank all need this extra one-to-one practice. And then you can use all the words that you want. You'll be sitting side by side with them and we'll play games. I will have lots of manipulatives and specific, like for instance, here's one math lesson that I was doing the other day with the kiddos, and I already have a couple that I noticed right away. And it's literally a math quick lesson. You've got some blocks and you drop them into a jar and you listen for them to drop. So it's called What's Hiding, so that one-to-one correspondence. But again, I have 10,000 of these things. So if you just read it first, and then you can go in the classroom, grab the student during their free play time or the times when you're volunteering there, pull them out and play this one. And then the next time I grab, not the practice, but those assessments, kind of see how you doing on that. Hopefully the practice that you were providing as a volunteer will help with that. So yeah, it'll be one or the other. And I do have a mix of both. So observation notes and the student needs that. some kiddos you work with are just going to be really high off the charts. They'll know all their kindergarten things, but it still pull them too, because they do not stagnate here in Waukee. I mean, we have resources that I can use. I've taught third grade lessons in the kindergarten classroom during my guided reading times and during some small math groups. So, I mean, I'll do it all. If they're at a first grade level, I do first grade lessons. If there's a large group in our classroom, or if we have the resources available in that particular year, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 or however many there might be, that are super high or super low, not getting one or the other. Those kiddos will get pulled at the times when I'm doing core lessons, so that they're not missing other stuff in the classroom, to go get other help with other teachers. So specialists in the building. So I think I've talked about everything. Oh, I didn't tell you the 3 time blocks, I think. I don't know. Okay, so I have the 9 to 10:15 in the morning. That takes us from the beginning of our day all the way to our first recess. So that's, if you just shoot me back an email. I'm going to take these on a first come first serve basis, because I think I said it a minute ago, we have 7 that have signed up to be volunteers. I'll try and be fair about it so that everybody has an opportunity. But I'm loving all this parent support, and I don't want anybody working with a teacher or a volunteer, for any academics. They need that brain break during recess. So even if you didn't get done, you can either choose to stay through that recess. There might be things to do in the hallway, hanging things up, taking things down, cutting, gluing, whatever it might be. And then I have another block from 10:45 to 12. So that takes us to lunch. In actuality, that one's going to be more like 10:45 to 11:45, because we start getting ready for lunch at 10:40. We put all of our things away that we were using to learn, and then we're usually out the door at 11:45. I think I said 10:45, 11:45. But yeah, that's if you stay for those, or you just come for that 1 hour block, then maybe you go to lunch with your student too. You do not have to. And then I'm adding in that last end of the day one. This is so awesome that we have so many volunteers. So there's a 2:30 to 3:30 block. I'm going to utilize that one because I am the only kindergarten classroom with an extra hand in the classroom. We've got student teachers in the building, and those are lovely. I always love having them. Didn't have one this year. Could be in the spring, but and no associates in our classroom. So getting activities done, cut and glued, and just follow the instructions for the students. They may need that extra help. And then I'll keep that 2:30 to 3:30 time where we can just catch up on activities and which students had trouble cutting something and they were really frustrated, but if they were working with an adult side by side, one by one, maybe they could get it done quickly. Or maybe just the hallway is a quieter place for them to do that too. So my last thing I'll leave you with before you respond to this is this is something that I haven't really had a whole lot of trouble with in the past, but 1 or 2 cases of this. If you feel like your student is really going to struggle with your presence there. So when you come in to volunteer, it's okay to give, I see you, you're across the room, and yeah, I'm going to work with Susie today, but I hope your name is on the list. I don't know. You'll want to teach your student that it is not okay to leave the classroom without permission, but I just wanted to give mom one quick hug, and then 1 turns into 3, and then before you know it, there's a revolving door, and your child is going in and out, in and out, in and out. I just want to show mom this, or dad, I know my dad's reading with so-and-so, but it's so, just teach them that they can't leave the classroom without permission. So, and I'm not always in charge. I teach them that they have at least 7 other teachers in the building. That's the specials teachers sometimes come in, and just the other day we had Mrs. Cutsforth, who was works with the higher level math students to give them what they need, and she came in and did a quick lesson with them, and And I said, well, I'm not in charge. I'm sitting with you guys on the floor, so we're going to listen to her. But if you feel like your student's going to struggle with that, or they're just going to break down crying every time you get ready to leave, then we can find you other volunteer activities to do. I would hate for the learning to stop just because of that dynamic. Because right now, I mean, your kiddos are trucking along. Every single one of them are doing a beautiful, beautiful job of learning how to sit and listen, but then also play nicely and get that free play time and just all their expectations in the whole building. So with all of that said, feel free to email me on those time slots that you'd like and what you would like to do to volunteer. Thank you.